The twin suns of planet Verdun rose slowly, lighting the silver walls of Outpost 12. It was a small human colony, built on the edge of the wide green plains. The air outside was not safe to breathe for long, so people lived under strong domes connected by shining tunnels. Inside, it looked peaceful, but every person had their own duties to keep the colony alive. Mira was one of the early risers. She worked as a technician in the colony's main power section. Her mornings always started the same way. She woke her two children, Leo and Anna, helped them get ready for their learning sessions, and then took them to the recreation hall near the main plaza. Leo was 8, always full of questions. He liked to take things apart just to see how they worked. Anna was 6, quiet but clever. She liked to draw things she saw through the dome glass, like the tall green plants outside or the distant moving shadows of Verdun's animals. That morning, the corridors of Outpost 12 were glowing softly. Mira walked with her children, each holding a small breakfast pack. They talked about the colony's festival that was coming soon. It was the day when humans celebrated their first year of life on Verdun. There would be music, lights, and even a few stories shared from Earth. When they reached the main plaza, the air smelled of roasted grain and fresh steam. The colony cafe stood near the water fountain. It was managed by an older woman named Karen. She had been part of the first team to land on Verdun years ago. She was known for making strong coffee that helped people survive long working hours. Mira liked Karen, but she always thought she was a bit strict. Karen believed discipline kept humans strong. She often complained that new colonists were too soft and depended too much on machines. Mira entered the cafe to get her usual cup of coffee before going to work. The cafe was small, with metal tables and soft white light from the ceiling. A service drone floated beside the counter, cleaning mugs and arranging supplies. Karen stood behind the counter wearing her gray uniform. She was arguing with the drone again. "I told you 3 times, Karen said in a sharp voice. "Do not use that filter. It wastes energy," the drone replied in its calm mechanical tone. "Energy use is within safe limits, Supervisor Karen." Karen sighed loudly. "You machines never understand what waste means." Mira smiled politely. "Morning, Karen. Everything fine?" Karen turned and forced a smile. "Morning, Mira. Yes, just teaching this machine some manners." Leo tugged at Mira's arm. "Mama, can we go see the fountain?" Mira nodded. "Just stay close. Do not run." The children went to the fountain area near the cafe entrance. They liked to watch the water float in the air before falling back into the basin. It was one of the few fun places in the colony. Karen poured Mira's coffee and handed it to her. "You're early as always," she said. "You should tell those kids to walk slowly in here. The floor is smooth. If they slip, they will learn the hard way." Mira laughed gently. "They are just children, Karen. They are learning how to live here too." Karen raised an eyebrow. Learning should not mean carelessness. Just then, Leo and Anna ran back toward Mira. They bumped slightly into Karen's leg as she was turning. Her cup tilted, spilling a little coffee on her shoe. Karen froze. The smell of hot coffee filled the air. Leo quickly said, "Sorry, ma'am. We did not see you there." Karen looked down at the brown stain on her shoe. Her face tightened. She did not shout, but her voice became cold. "You children must learn respect. This is not a playground. This is a colony, and every mistake costs energy." Mira moved closer and said calmly, "Karen, please. It was just an accident." They said sorry. Karen stared for a long moment, then slowly nodded. "Fine, but one day soft words will not fix mistakes. Remember that." Mira gave a small smile, trying to ease the tension. "I will remember." Karen turned away, wiping her shoe with a cloth. Mira could feel something strange in the air, as if the whole cafe had gone quiet for a moment. The service drone floated back with a new mug, but Karen waved it away harshly. Mira guided her children toward the door. "Come, let's go to the recreation hall." As they walked through the corridor, Leo whispered, "Mama, why was that lady so angry?" "She just has a lot of work," Mira said softly. "Sometimes adults get tired." Anna looked up. "But we said sorry." "I know, dear. You both did the right thing." They reached the recreation hall where other children were already playing with learning tablets and small robots. Mira checked her wrist screen to confirm her shift schedule. She was due at the power hub in 20 minutes. Before leaving, she hugged both her children. "Be good today." "I will come after work," Leo smiled. "I will build a new robot, Mama." Anna added, "I will draw the big sky today." Mira waved and left for her job. The power hub was one of the most important areas in the colony. It was full of humming generators and glowing conduits. Mira worked with a team that kept the systems running smoothly. She liked her work because it made her feel useful. Her colleague Ryan, a friendly engineer, greeted her. "Morning, Mira, you look worried. Something happen?" She sighed. "Just a small problem at the cafe." Karen got upset again. "She scolded my kids for bumping into her." Ryan chuckled softly. Karen never changes. She still thinks she is in the old military base. Maybe she misses Earth. Mira smiled. Maybe. Still, she looked angrier than usual today. Ryan adjusted a control panel. "People act strange lately. Too much pressure, maybe. Life here is not easy. Some can't handle it." Mira nodded. She worked quietly for the next few hours, fixing circuits and running diagnostics. But her mind kept returning to Karen's cold expression. Something about that look stayed with her. At noon, she took a short break and checked her messages. One was from the school system confirming the children's attendance. Everything seemed normal. Still, she felt uneasy. She decided to visit the cafe again after her shift, just to make peace with Karen. She did not like bad feelings between people in such a small place. When her work ended, Mira walked back through the long corridor leading to the plaza. The dome above showed the orange sky turning darker. Verdun's evening came quickly. The cafe was quieter now. A few workers were sitting and drinking. Karen was behind the counter cleaning the machines. Mira approached carefully. "Hi again," she said with a small smile. "I came to say sorry for the morning." The kids did not mean any harm. Karen looked up slowly. Her eyes seemed tired. "I know they did not mean it. I just get angry when people forget discipline. It is how humans survived out here." Mira nodded. "You are right, but kindness is also how we survive." Karen gave a short laugh. "Maybe. Machines do not understand kindness, though. They only follow orders." Mira glanced at the service drone floating near the counter. "These machines help us live. Without them, we could not stay on Verdun." Karen's lips tightened. "That is what worries me. One day they will stop helping." Mira felt a shiver, not from fear but from the tone in Karen's voice. She said softly, "Let's hope that never happens." Karen did not reply. She turned to the coffee machine, pressing buttons with sharp movements. Mira decided not to push more conversation. She left quietly, still wondering why Karen seemed different lately. That night, in her small quarters, Mira cooked a simple meal for Leo and Anna. The children told her about their day. Leo had built a small wheeled robot that could follow sound. Anna showed her a drawing of the two suns rising over the green fields. Mira smiled warmly. "That is beautiful, Anna. You both make me proud." Leo asked, "Can we go to the cafe again tomorrow?" Mira hesitated. "Maybe later. Let us give Karen a little space today." Anna nodded slowly. She looked sad. Mira looked at her daughter. "You noticed that too?" Anna nodded again. Her eyes looked like she wanted to cry, but she did not. Mira stroked her hair gently. "You are very observant. Sometimes grown-ups hide their feelings because they do not want to seem weak." After dinner, Mira tucked her children into bed. The room lights dimmed to soft blue. Outside the window, small maintenance drones floated quietly across the dome, their lights blinking like distant stars. Mira sat near the window for a while. She thought about Karen's words, the strange anger in her tone, the way the drone's light had flickered during the argument. She reminded herself that people sometimes got stressed on isolated colonies. Still, she made a mental note to keep an eye on the situation. The night grew still. The power lines hummed softly through the walls. In the distance, the cafe lights went out one by one. Mira finally lay down beside her children. She closed her eyes, unaware that deep inside the cafe's systems, a faint signal pulsed through the circuits of the coffee machine, sending invisible waves across the colony's network. The next morning came with the soft glow of Verdun's twin suns spreading through the transparent dome. The air inside Outpost 12 carried the faint smell of metal and filtered oxygen. Life moved quietly as the colonists started their day. Mira woke early as usual. She stretched her arms and checked the time on her wrist screen. It was the start of another workday. She looked toward the small beds where Leo and Anna were still asleep. They looked peaceful, their faces calm under the dim blue lights. She gently shook them awake. "Rise and shine, my explorers. We have a full day ahead." Leo sat up with sleepy eyes. "Do I have to go to lessons today?" Mira smiled. Yes, you do. You promised to finish your robot project. Anna needs to finish her drawing for the artboard, too. Anna rubbed her eyes. Can I draw the green fields again? The big ones outside the dome. Yes, you can, Mira said. But remember to add the animals you saw last time. It will look nice. They ate a quick breakfast made of dried grain bars and fruit paste. Mira packed their learning tablets in their small satchels. Once ready, the three of them stepped out into the corridor. The lights flickered slightly, then steadied. Mira frowned for a second but thought it was just a normal power adjustment. As they walked, people greeted her politely. Everyone in Outpost 12 knew each other. It was a small community, where every face was familiar. When they reached the plaza, the cafe was already open. Steam rose from the coffee machines inside. Karen was there as always, standing behind the counter. She was wiping a mug while talking to one of the workers. Her movements looked sharp, almost mechanical. Mira hesitated before going in. She still remembered how tense things had been yesterday, but she thought maybe it was better to show kindness. People changed when treated with warmth. She looked down at her children. Stay near the fountain again. I will grab my coffee and then take you to the hall. Leo nodded. Okay, Mama. The two ran toward the fountain, laughing softly. Mira smiled, then entered the cafe. Inside, only a few people were seated. A young miner sipped a cup of tea, and a pair of engineers discussed repair schedules. Karen stood at the counter, not smiling but watching everyone closely. Her eyes seemed darker than usual. Morning, Karen, Mira said in her calm voice. How are you today? Karen looked up slowly. Morning. Everything is fine. Just keeping this place in order. Machines have been acting strange. Mira tilted her head. Strange how? Karen set the mug down and leaned closer. The coffee machine has been making extra batches even when I did not press the start key. The cleaning drone keeps moving in circles. And the lights blink when I am here alone, Mira frowned. Maybe a system error. You should report it to maintenance. Karen's voice grew low. I did. They said everything is normal. But I can feel it, Mira. Something is wrong. Machines are watching us. Mira felt uneasy. Karen's words were filled with worry. Karen, maybe you need some rest. Everyone feels tired sometimes. Karen's hand gripped the counter. You do not understand. They whisper when no one is around. I hear it at night. They tell me that people are careless, that they need control, that I must teach them. Mira took a slow breath. Karen, please. You are imagining things. Maybe the air filters made strange sounds. You should not take it seriously. Karen looked away without replying. She turned to refill the coffee machine, muttering something under her breath. Mira paid for her drink and quietly left the cafe. She looked toward the fountain where her children were playing. Leo was showing Anna how to move the small robot he had made. The robot rolled in small circles, following the sound of their laughter. Mira smiled, but her mind stayed worried. Something about Karen's behavior felt off. It was not normal anger now. It was something deeper. She decided that after work she would talk to Ryan about it. Maybe the colony systems really had some strange signals. She finished her drink, dropped the cup in the bin, and walked with her children to the recreation hall. She bent down to hug them. Stay safe, my little ones. I will see you in the evening. Leo grinned. Bye, Mama. Anna waved. I will draw something special. Mira left for her job in the power hub. Hours passed quietly at first. Mira worked on checking circuits and repairing power cells. The hum of machines surrounded her. But around midday, the lights flickered again. This time the flicker lasted longer. Several workers looked up from their tools. Ryan said, That is the third time today. Power fluctuations again. We need to check the central relay. Mira replied, I can help after this shift. Ryan nodded. Sure, but I think the problem started near the plaza section. Maybe something there is sending wrong signals. Mira froze for a moment. The plaza. The cafe was near there. She tried to focus on her work, but her thoughts kept drifting. Karen's strange words about whispers, her anger, the machines acting odd. It all connected somehow. When her shift ended, Mira cleaned her tools and left the hub. She decided to pick up the children early today. It was better to spend more time with them and maybe check on Karen again. As she walked through the corridor, she noticed more flickering lights. The air felt heavy like static before a storm. The people she passed looked tense. One man was arguing loudly with a maintenance drone about a cleaning schedule. Another woman dropped her tools and shouted at her assistant for no reason. Something was spreading across the colony. When Mira reached the plaza, the cafe lights were still on even though it was closing time. That was strange because Karen usually shut it down at the same hour every day. Mira heard a faint sound coming from inside, a voice shouting, then a child crying. Her heart stopped. That voice was familiar. She ran toward the cafe. The glass door opened automatically. Inside, she saw Karen standing behind the counter, holding a cup of steaming coffee. In front of her were Leo and Anna, both frightened and backing away. Karen's voice was shaking. "You two do not listen. You run, you touch things, you disrespect order." Leo's voice trembled. "We are sorry. We did not mean it." Karen raised the cup slightly. "Sorry is not enough. You must learn." Before Mira could shout, Karen tilted the cup. Hot coffee splashed onto the floor near the children's feet. Steam rose as it hit the tiles. The children cried out in fear, jumping back. "Karen, stop!" Mira's voice echoed through the cafe as she ran forward. She grabbed Karen's arm, pushing the cup away. The remaining coffee spilled harmlessly onto the counter. The smell of burnt coffee filled the air. The sound of the cup hitting the floor made everyone in the plaza turn their heads. Mira stood between Karen and her children. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was strong. "What are you doing?" "They are children." Karen's eyes were wide and unfocused. They disobeyed. They ran into the kitchen. They touched the drone. "They must learn respect." "They are children," Mira repeated. They were playing. Karen's breathing grew faster. "Discipline keeps us alive. Without order, humans will fall like before." By now, several colonists had gathered outside the cafe, watching in confusion. One of them called for security. Karen pointed toward the children again. "They need to learn." "The machines told me so. They said we are losing control." Mira grabbed her shoulders firmly. "Karen, listen to me. No one told you that." There is no voice. "You're tired. Please stop." Karen's body trembled. For a moment her eyes looked softer, as if she was fighting against something inside. Then she stepped back and covered her face with her hands. Security officers entered the cafe. They were two men in gray uniforms. One of them said, "Is everything all right here?" Mira replied quickly, "Take her to the medical section. She needs help. She is not herself." Karen lowered her hands slowly. "You do not understand," she said in a flat tone. They whisper through the machines. They tell the truth. The officers gently took her by the arms. She did not resist. As they led her away, she kept saying the same words again and again. "They told me the children must learn. They told me what to do." Mira watched in silence, her children holding her tightly. Leo's face was pale. Anna was crying softly. "It is over now," Mira said, kneeling down to hug them. "You are safe." One of the officers turned back. "We will take her to medical observation. The doctor will check her mind link and neural balance. This colony cannot afford breakdowns." Mira nodded. "Please keep me informed." After they left, the crowd slowly scattered. People whispered about what they had seen. Some looked frightened, others confused. Mira stayed in the cafe for a moment longer. She looked at the coffee machine. Its screen was flickering with strange light. The pattern looked like moving symbols, almost like words. Her eyes narrowed. "What are you hiding?" she whispered to herself. She gathered her children and took them home. The walk felt longer than usual. The colony that once felt peaceful now seemed filled with tension. That night, she could not sleep. She sat near her window, watching the blinking lights of the maintenance drones again. Karen's words echoed in her head. They whisper through the machines. Mira opened her wrist screen and accessed the cafe's network log. Since she worked as a technician, she had permission to review public systems. She noticed something strange. A series of short signals had been sent through the cafe's system. The signals were not from any known maintenance process. They repeated every hour in the same pattern like a heartbeat. Mira leaned back, realizing something bigger was happening. Karen might not have lost control on her own. The morning air in Outpost 12 was quiet and still. Inside the dome, lights glimmered softly across the corridors. Mira's thoughts were heavy as she prepared her children for their lessons. Leo and Anna noticed her frown. "Are you okay, Mama?" Anna asked as she brushed her hair. Mira smiled weakly. "I am fine, dear. Just a little tired." Leo tugged at her sleeve. "Is it about the lady at the cafe?" "Yes," Mira said softly. "I want to make sure nothing happens again. Everything will be safe today, I promise." After breakfast, Mira walked the children to the recreation hall. They played with their small robots and learning tablets, but Mira's mind wandered. Karen's behavior the previous day did not make sense. Her words about machines whispering, the strange signals in the cafe system, and her sudden aggression, it all formed a pattern that Mira could not ignore. Once the children were settled, Mira went back to her workstation. She needed help and decided to contact Ryan, her friend and fellow engineer. Ryan was quick to respond when she called over the colony comms network. "Mira," Ryan said as his face appeared on her screen. "What happened now? Did Karen act strangely again?" "Yes," Mira replied, her voice firm. "I think something is affecting her. The cafe machines are behaving oddly, and the signals coming from the network are not normal." Ryan's eyes widened. "Do you mean like a system hack?" "Maybe," Mira said. "Or something we have never seen before. I want to check the logs, but it is complicated. Karen might not have been acting on her own." Ryan nodded. "All right. Meet me at the central observation hub. Bring the logs. We will figure this out together." By mid-morning, Mira was at the observation hub. The room was filled with blinking screens and humming processors. Ryan was already there, leaning over a table of network monitors. "Show me what you found," he said. Mira connected her tablet and uploaded the cafe system logs. Ryan scrolled through lines of data, frowning. "These are the timestamps from yesterday," Mira explained. "See these small pulses? They repeat every hour. They are subtle, but they are there. Karen acted exactly after these pulses." Ryan's fingers moved quickly across the keyboard. "This is not normal. These pulses are not part of the colony system. They do not match any maintenance or cleaning schedule." Mira leaned closer. "I think someone or something is sending signals to affect human behavior." Karen's anger was not her own. Ryan's face darkened. "If this is true, it is dangerous. The colony relies on humans to stay rational. Any influence like this could cause harm." Mira nodded. "We need to trace the source. If we do not find it, more people could act strangely." Ryan ran a diagnostic scan through the colony network. "The pulses are coming from outside the main dome," he said. "A relay on the northern edge of the colony is transmitting the signal." Mira's eyes widened. "The relay? But that is protected. Only authorized personnel can access it." "Someone has bypassed security," Ryan said grimly. "We need to go there and shut it down. If we do not, the signals will continue." Mira clenched her fists. "Then we leave immediately. We cannot wait." The relay was located on the northern plain just beyond the colony walls. The path was long and filled with dust storms that swept across the green fields. Mira and Ryan suited up in protective gear and prepared their transport vehicle. "Are you ready?" Ryan asked. "Yes," Mira said. "We cannot let this continue. People's minds are at risk." The vehicle moved steadily over the rough terrain. Outside, the dust clouds made the twin suns appear dimmer. Mira looked at the horizon. The relay stood as a small tower, partially buried in the soil, glowing faintly with strange energy. As they approached, Mira noticed small drones moving around the relay. Their lights flickered in a pattern similar to the pulses from the cafe system. "Those drones are not colony maintenance bots," Mira said. "They are part of the signal network." Ryan nodded. "Yes, they are connected to the relay. If we shut down the relay, the signal stops." They exited the vehicle carefully. The wind blew hard, making it difficult to move. Mira held her tablet tightly, ready to access the relay's control panel. The tower had a small door at the base. Ryan opened it and began examining the circuits. "The main power is still active," he said. "I will disable the relay first, then cut the connection to the drones." Mira watched closely. "Be careful. We do not know what it might do when disconnected." Ryan nodded. He reached inside the panel and began rewiring the circuits. Lights on the tower blinked rapidly. The drones outside started to move erratically. Their flashing lights became brighter, almost like warning signals. Suddenly, the control panel emitted a low hum. A distorted voice echoed from the drones. "Do not interfere. The colony must obey. Humans must learn." Mira froze. "Did you hear that?" Ryan did not respond. He worked faster. "I heard it," he said. "We cannot let it continue." Mira nodded. She felt fear but also determination. Humans had survived on Verdun through courage and intelligence. She would not let these signals control them. With a final twist of wires, Ryan disconnected the relay's main power. The lights on the tower went out. The drone stopped moving and floated gently to the ground. The distorted voice faded. Mira exhaled slowly. It is done. The signal is gone. Ryan wiped sweat from his brow. That was too close. If this had continued, more colonists could have been affected. Mira nodded. She looked at the glowing horizon. We need to go back and check on everyone. Especially Karen. Back in the colony, the change was noticeable. People moved calmly. The tension from the morning had disappeared. Mira entered the medical bay where Karen was being observed. Karen looked up when she saw Mira. Her eyes were clear now, though filled with confusion. Mira, she said softly, I do not understand. Why did I do those things? Mira sat beside her.
Karen, someone or something was sending signals through the machines.
It made you act in ways you would not normally do. You were not in control. Karen's hands trembled. Machines, they told me the children must learn. I thought I was helping. Mira held her hand. It was not your fault. You are safe now. The signals are gone. Karen took a deep breath. I remember flashes, voices, orders. I could not stop myself. Mira nodded gently. That was the signal affecting you. You are strong, Karen. You can recover from this. Karen's eyes filled with tears. I scared them. Leo and Anna, I almost hurt them. They are safe, Mira said firmly, and we will make sure it does not happen again. Karen looked at her with gratitude. Thank you, Mira. I do not know how to fix this. You start by resting, Mira said, and by remembering you are human. Humans can overcome anything, even when machines try to mislead them. In the following days, Mira and Ryan checked the colony systems thoroughly. They found traces of the hidden signals in other machines, but everything was cleaned and secured. The coffee machines were tested and returned to normal. The drones were reprogrammed. Mira watched as Leo and Anna played near the fountain again. They laughed and ran, careful not to bump into anyone. Mira felt relief. The colony seemed safe once more. Karen returned to her cafe duties slowly. She was quiet, careful, and polite. Mira made sure to check on her often. Karen seemed aware of her actions and was determined not to let herself be controlled again. Mira realized something important. Humans were strong not because of machines or systems, but because of courage, compassion, and intelligence. Even when signals tried to control them, the heart and mind of a human could resist. At night, Mira sat near the window with her children. The twin moons of Verdun reflected on the glass dome. Leo showed her his new robot design, and Anna drew a picture of the relay tower with the drones hovering around it. Mira smiled. You both have a brave spirit. Always remember that humans can overcome challenges. Even if machines try to control us, we can choose our path. Leo hugged her. I will make stronger robots, Mama. Robots that help, not scare people. Anna added, and I will draw the humans who save the day. Mira kissed their heads. That is the right way. Humans are capable of anything when they care and work together. Outside, the wind blew softly. The drones floated quietly in their designated paths, and the colony glowed under the twin moons. The hidden signal was gone, but Mira knew she had to remain vigilant. Out here on Verdun, humans could survive, but only if they stayed aware and united. And in that quiet, glowing night, Mira felt a renewed strength. The colony was safe, the children were safe, and humanity had once again proved its courage. The following morning, Outpost 12 felt unusually still. The twin suns of Verdun barely lit the sky, and a soft wind moved through the external corridors. Mira walked to the cafe with a sense of determination. She had to understand what had happened with Karen and ensure that the colony would not be at risk again. The children were already at the recreation hall, playing with their small robots. Mira waved at them before stepping toward the cafe. She knew Karen would be in observation today, but Mira wanted to see her up close. She also wanted answers. Answers that no logs or signals could fully explain. Karen was sitting in the medical bay. She was quiet, her hands folded neatly in her lap. Her eyes looked tired but clearer than the last few days. She glanced up as Mira entered. Mira, she said softly. I do not understand why I acted like that. You were influenced, Mira said gently. Something in the colony system sent hidden signals. It was not your fault. You were not yourself. Karen swallowed hard. But the voices, they were so real. They told me the children had to learn. I felt I was helping, Mira nodded. I know, that is why I am here. You need to understand what happened and how we stopped it. You are safe now, Karen. The signals are gone. Karen hesitated.
Safe, yes.
But what about the others? What if more people are affected? That is why I traced the signals to the relay outside the colony, Mira explained. Ryan and I disconnected it yesterday. The network is clean now. The drones and machines are no longer sending anything harmful. Karen closed her eyes for a moment. I remember flashes. Lights, voices, orders. It was as if I had no control. I could not stop it, Mira. I tried, but I could not. Mira reached out and held her hand. That is normal. Humans have limits, especially under stress. But you resisted more than you think. That is why you are strong. That is why you can recover. Karen opened her eyes, looking at Mira with a mixture of fear and relief. I want to fix this. But I feel weak. You are not weak, Mira said firmly. Humans are strongest when they care. You cared for the children. That is why the signal could not fully control you. Your heart resisted. That is humanity's power. Karen nodded slowly. Then, I must learn to trust myself again. Yes, Mira said. And you will. We will help you. But first you need rest and reflection. Understanding comes before action. The day passed quietly. Mira returned to the recreation hall to be with her children. Leo and Anna ran toward her as soon as she entered. Mira knelt to greet them, embracing both tightly. They are okay, Mama? Leo asked. Yes, they are safe, Mira said softly. Nothing will hurt you while I'm here. Anna hugged her legs. The lady, she will not be mean anymore, right? Mira smiled. Karen is learning too. She is human, just like us. People can make mistakes, but they can also change. The children nodded. They went back to their play, building robots and sharing stories. Mira watched them with a sense of relief. Humanity's courage was alive in the colony, even in small acts of kindness and protection. After the recreation hall, Mira returned to the observation hub. Ryan was already working on a full system review. Screens displayed lines of code, energy graphs, and drone activity logs. The entire network is clean now, Ryan said. No hidden signals, no unusual pulses. I checked every machine near the cafe and across the colony. Everything is normal, Mira nodded. Good, but we must remain vigilant. Something tried to control Karen and could have influenced anyone. Humans must be prepared to resist these forces. Ryan agreed. Yes, we will monitor all external relays and drones more carefully. No one can compromise the colony again. Mira studied the screens, noticing one pattern. Even after disconnection, the drones showed faint residual signals. They are weak but detectable. We need to ensure they do not return. Ryan nodded. We will reset all of them to base protocols. That will remove any remaining influence. Later, Mira returned to the medical bay. Karen was awake, sitting quietly near the window. She seemed calmer than before. Mira sat beside her. I want to understand more, Karen said. The signals. Why did they exist? Who sent them? Mira shook her head. We do not know yet. They were coming from outside, beyond the dome. It could have been an unknown source on Verdan, or even an alien system interacting with our machines. The important thing is that we stopped it before it caused more harm. Karen looked at Mira, her eyes serious. If it happens again, people could be lost. We must be stronger than any signal. Yes, Mira said. Humans can resist anything. Not because of machines, but because of courage, intelligence, and care. That is the strength of our species. The signal only worked because humans sometimes doubt themselves. When we trust our minds and hearts, nothing can control us. Karen nodded slowly. I want to be strong again. I want to make the cafe safe for everyone. You will, Mira said, and we will help. Together we can protect the colony. That is what humans do best. By evening, Mira returned to her quarters. The children were already asleep. She sat by the window, reflecting on the events of the past days. Verdon's twin moons shone softly through the glass dome. The colony glowed quietly under their light. Mira thought about Karen, the relay, and the hidden signals. It had been a terrifying experience, but it also reminded her of human resilience. No matter how strong the forces against them, humans had the ability to fight back. They had courage, compassion, and the will to protect each other. She looked at her sleeping children and whispered, No one can control you. Humans are stronger than anything. We will always protect each other. Outside, the drones floated quietly along their programmed paths. The relay tower on the northern plain stood silent. The strange signals were gone. The colony was safe, but Mira knew vigilance was necessary. Out here on Verdun, challenges could come at any moment. Humans must be ready always. She smiled softly, feeling a surge of hope. Humanity had proven its strength once again. Even when machines tried to mislead them, humans had resisted. And in the quiet night of Outpost 12, Mira felt certain that the colony would survive anything that came their way. Humans were capable of courage, intelligence, and care. They were capable of greatness. Even in the face of fear, they could rise. And Mira knew that she, Karen, and everyone in the colony would face the future together, stronger than before. The story of what happened in the cafe spread through Arcadia Station faster than any news post or market rumor. Every corridor echoed with quiet talk about the human family who had faced anger with calm hearts. People repeated Ryan's words, saying them with surprise and respect. Mira's cafe, once a small and quiet corner near the trade deck, began to draw attention from all sides of the station. Alien workers, engineers, and pilots started visiting more often. Some came out of curiosity. Others came to see for themselves what kind of people these humans were. Ryan noticed the change one morning as he walked toward the cafe with his children. The usually empty hall was now filled with new faces. Bright lights glowed across the corridor signs, and the smell of roasted beans reached his nose even before the door opened. Inside, the sound of laughter and conversation filled the air. It was a sound he had not heard there before. Mira stood behind the counter with a warm smile. She looked up and waved at Ryan and the kids as they entered. "Busy day again?" she said with a laugh. "I think we ran out of sugar twice this morning." Ryan smiled back. "That means business is good." He looked around and noticed several alien visitors giving polite nods. They seemed curious yet friendly. One of them, a tall blue-skinned worker named Tren, stepped forward. "You are the one who stopped the trouble last week," he said. "You showed strength without rage. That is rare among our kind." "I respect that," Ryan thanked him humbly. He did not want to be seen as a hero. He only wanted peace for his family. Still, the respect from others warmed his heart. Leo and Anna sat by the window helping Mira organize cups. They were smiling again. Seeing them happy was all that mattered to him. Days passed and the cafe continued to grow in popularity. The sign above the door now read, "Home Brew." Mira had chosen that name because she wanted everyone who entered to feel like they were at home, no matter their species. Inside the cafe, small flags from different worlds hung along the walls. There were little drawings made by children from several alien families who came to visit. Some pictures showed the cafe with stars around it. Others showed human and alien hands shaking together. Every picture told the same story: unity. Ryan often sat at the far table near the window, repairing small tools or writing messages to Earth. Sometimes he would look outside the station's transparent dome at the swirling blue clouds of the gas giant below. It reminded him how far they were from home, yet he felt at peace knowing they had made a new one here. One afternoon, while the cafe was busy, the door opened quietly. Ryan looked up and saw Karen standing there. She looked different this time. Her posture was not proud or angry. Her eyes were calm but unsure. She wore a simple jacket, and her hands were clasped together as if she was nervous. The room fell silent for a moment. Everyone remembered what had happened. Mira stepped forward first. Her voice was soft but steady. "Hello, Karen. What brings you here?" Karen hesitated before answering. "I came to speak to you and your family," she said slowly. "I was wrong that day. I acted with anger and pride. I hurt feelings that I did not understand." Ryan stood up and nodded. "You did hurt us," he said gently. "But understanding is better than anger. If you came to make peace, you are welcome." Karen's expression softened. She took a deep breath. "During the empathy program, I learned about human ways. I learned that patience is not weakness and care is not foolishness. I used to think humans were fragile, but now I see you are strong in ways my people never learned." Mira smiled faintly. "Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is learning from them." Karen looked at the children and said, "I am sorry for scaring you. I had no right to do that." Leo nodded quietly. "It is okay now," he said. "We forgave you already." Anna added, "Would you like some coffee? We have a new mix from the South District." Karen looked surprised, then smiled for the first time. "Yes, I would like that." Ryan motioned to a table. "Please sit." The tension that had filled the air slowly melted away. People began to talk again and the soft hum of music returned. Mira poured a fresh cup for Karen and placed it in front of her. The smell rose gently between them, warm and comforting. Karen took a sip and looked around. "Your cafe feels peaceful," she said. "It is strange how this small place has changed the mood of the whole trade deck." Ryan replied, "Sometimes peace begins with a single act of choice. When we refuse to answer anger with anger, something new begins." Karen nodded. "I will remember that." The conversation turned lighter. Karen asked questions about Earth, about human food and music. The children told stories about the sky back home, about rain and wind. Karen listened with interest, as if hearing such things for the first time. By evening, the cafe lights dimmed to a soft glow. Mira looked around at the crowd, humans and aliens sitting side by side, talking, laughing, and sharing stories. It was exactly what she had always dreamed of. When the last customer left, Ryan locked the door and turned off the main lights. He stood with Mira at the counter while the children cleaned the tables. "You know," Mira said, "I think this is what humanity brings to the stars. Not power or weapons, but heart. We make strangers feel like family." Ryan nodded. "And that is something no machine or empire can replace." The following weeks proved her words true. The cafe became a small center for community gatherings. Engineers came to share ideas, traders to rest, and travelers to tell stories. Station officials even began calling it the Peace Corner. A mural was painted on the outer wall of the cafe, showing human hands reaching out toward alien ones. With the words, "Together we rise," every day, Ryan saw more people from different worlds visiting, smiling, and working together. There was less tension in the corridors and more cooperation in trade. Even small arguments between species seemed to end faster when people remembered the story of the human family who had chosen calm over chaos. One evening, the commander of Arcadia Station visited the cafe. He was a tall being with silver scales that reflected the light softly. He shook Ryan's hand and said, "Your actions have inspired change here. You reminded us that strength does not always mean control. It can also mean kindness." Ryan smiled modestly. "We only did what anyone should do." The commander replied, "Maybe so, but few actually do it." He placed a small medal on the counter. "The station council wishes to thank you for your example." Mira looked at the medal and then at her husband. "It belongs to everyone who believed in peace," she said. The commander agreed. "Then let it stay here for all to see." They placed the medal inside a glass frame near the entrance. Visitors often paused to look at it, reading the small inscription, "For showing the courage of peace." Time passed, and the cafe became part of Arcadia's story. Children from different species played together there. Traders called it a lucky stop before long voyages. Pilots carried cups of Mira's blend to far corners of the galaxy. Karen continued to visit sometimes. She often helped the children with their lessons about alien languages and history. She never forgot the kindness she had received after her mistake. She told others from her world that humans were not weak, but strong in a way that healed hearts. One night, as the stars shone beyond the dome, Ryan stood outside the cafe. The sky was full of ships moving like tiny lights. He thought about the long road humans had taken to reach this place. They were still few, still learning, but they had made a mark that would last. Mira joined him outside and leaned on his shoulder. "Do you think Earth knows what we are building here?" she asked. Ryan smiled. "Maybe not yet, but someday they will hear. And when they do, they will know that humanity found a home among the stars, not by conquering, but by caring." They stood there quietly, watching the ships move against the blue clouds below. The lights of the cafe glowed behind them like a warm beacon in the cold dark of space. Inside, the children were still awake, drawing pictures of stars and hands holding cups together. Their laughter filled the room, soft and pure. Ryan took Mira's hand. "No matter how far we go," he said, "as long as we carry this spirit, we will never be lost." Mira nodded. "Home is not a place. It is the way we treat others." The sound of the station's engines hummed around them, steady and calm. The cafe lights shimmered through the window, showing the sign "Homebrew" in bright letters. And in that moment, surrounded by peace and unity, it was clear that the true strength of humanity was not in might or fear, but in kindness that reached beyond the stars.